What's going on, guys? T2RX6 here, back for something a little different. Today we're going to take a look at the Playmates Classics Ninja Turtles. And these are a little bit old. A couple years ago these came out. And obviously it's a recreation of the cartoon Turtles. Now you'll notice I've whited out the eyes on all these because pretty much every one you got was a crapshoot whether their actual eyeballs were looking straight or not. And I kind of always liked the toy look of the white eyes, so I'm not sad that I did that to these guys, but I did. Usually they have, like I said, irises on their eyes, and they kind of look in all different directions. In fact, I think Donatello is kind of pulling the Bill Cosby, one eye looking this way and one eye looking straight. It was pretty bad. White eyes, that's the way to go. If you're going to get these guys, just white out their eyes personally. All the turtles here are all pretty well the same sculpt. I'm unable to see any differences. There's no like chips in Raphael's shell or anything like that that differentiates them. The only thing that's different is they've got a different belt and they've got a different face expression. And I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed in Michelangelo. Like, he's just way too serious looking for the character. Everyone else is fine, I guess. Raphael looks like he's kind of angry. Leonardo looks like he's a bit focused. I don't know, it's the classic turtle look for Donatello, but Michelangelo just, I don't know. I'm not sure. I say I want to see him with a grin, but, you know, if he had a grin, I'm not really sure I'd like it. Every single one of these guys does have a place to store their weapons on the back. Most of them work pretty nice. The holder for the nunchucks on Michelangelo and the holder for Donatello's staff on the back are a little bit loose compared to everybody else's, and I guess it's just because their weapons are tubular in form, they just kind of slide right through. Michelangelo, unlike almost every other incarnation of him, actually has a metal chain, so that's a real nice touch. No chains breaking, and as you can see, I mean, you can pose them with the weapons fairly nicely. Raphael here, you can put the sai upwards, you can have it held in his hands like that, all kinds of things you can do. Now I will say, the grip on these hands is not necessarily the greatest. You got the two fingers and the thumb here, and things do get a little bit dicey to actually get them held in place. Once they're there, they're not really going anywhere, but you can see like it's pretty loose in there. It can fall out. Now I will say, I do think that Raphael and Michelangelo's weapons are just fine. They fit the part. But I think Donatello and Leonardo, the swords and the staff are a little bit small. So the articulation on these guys is pretty nice. Let's take them off the stand. And each one does come with a little sewer plate with their name on it. The head is on a ball joint, so you get a decent range of motion out of it. The arms are a swivel at the shoulder with the like inside hinge joint, and that's the stupid Verizon Fios box that needs its battery replaced apparently. You get the bicep swivel, you get a double jointed elbow for pretty good range of motion, the articulated wrist, like I showed you earlier. You do have the two fingers and the separate thumb. You do have actually a ab crunch on this guy, which does look a little bit weird because, you know, you don't expect the shell to be moving like that, but it mostly works. It gives you a little bit extra that you need. The other way it's a little more hindered by the belt here, and the whole shell is just kind of free floating with the top half, which is nice. Coming down to the waist here, it looks like ball joints. I'm not really sure. You can only get them that far split apart. Forward and back is nice. Yeah, it's definitely a ball joint based on how that moves. I think you have the thigh cut up here. Maybe that's just a mold line. Yeah, I guess it's just a mold line. I always thought it moved there. The knee, again, double jointed right down here, with plenty of motion out of it based on that ball jointed thigh. And then coming down to the ankle, you do have the rocker here. No side to side on it. You're just gonna have to kind of use the, well, you can always turn it this way and then rock it like that, which just looks really unnatural. So yeah, because it has a swivel, you can get some rotation on it, but it's a little bit difficult to use. In stances like that, it's okay. And then the two toes are articulated on these guys. So on the back here, the swords do just plug into the back of Leonardo, and sometimes they will be hanging off there a little weird if they do just plug them right in. The one thing I really like about the articulation on these guys is you can get almost every single one of them in a position that looks like they're ready to draw their weapons. Like here's Leonardo, he's obviously gripping his two katanas here. Donatello is very similar, no problem there, getting ready to pull them out. Michelangelo, let's try him. I suppose we can get his hand up like this, and it takes a little doing, but it kind of looks like he's ready to fish that out. Raphael ends up being the most difficult to make something like that happen because of the way the arm articulates. Yeah, like you can kind of, I guess you could kind of do it like this, but it is difficult to get Raphael pulling out his sai. But I still don't think that looks terrible if you wanted to have him posed, you know, something like that, like he's getting ready to pull the sais out. I don't know. It's not the greatest looking pose, but whatever. We can fake it and bring him out part way and put him in his hand. Come on, don't lie about it. There we go. Nope, just lost it. Something like that. We can make him looking like he's pulling it on out. So, you know, the articulation is pretty good with the exception of where Raphael's stuff is placed. You can really make them all look like they're reaching for their weapon, which is something I really like. So overall, I really like these guys. They were a little bit pricey to pick up, and I think the eye applications were a little bit lame. There could have been some better paint apps on these guys, a little bit more detail on like the belts and everything like that. Like if you want to customize these guys, you could make them look super special. So there's lots of like, you know, like the musculature and stuff is kind of sculpted in. Like the biceps have a good sculpt if you got the right wash on there. Like you really could make these guys look awesome. It's a shame they didn't put that much time into it and that the eyes are, you know, wonky. The articulation I think is good for the turtles. Yeah, just a little more, I think, love on the paint would have been nice, you know? It really could have made something super special. Overall, I think if you could get these guys for a decent price, like 20 bucks or less a piece, I still think they're worth it if you're a turtle fan. It's a shame that the line pretty well did the turtles and then Rocksteady and Bebop, and then everything else just kind of got scrapped. But there's some third-party things picking up the slack, like a Shredder, which we have coming soon. But again, I like them, I enjoy them, and you know, if you invest a little bit of time, you can get something amazing. But stick around, we'll take a look at that next week. So this is T2RX6, I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I'll see you next time.